Hey everyone, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry for the little snafu with the video at the beginning, but so glad to see everyone and thanks for joining us. We're going to continue to give folks a chance to join as we get started, but really want to jump right in as we have many people here excited to celebrate the introduction of AB 1816, a bill just introduced by Assemblymember Bryan that establishes the Reentry Housing and Workforce Development Program. My name is Mari Castaldi. I'm the Senior Legislative Advocate on Homelessness at Housing California, and we're a proud co-sponsor of AB 1816 and super excited to be here this morning alongside Assemblymember Bryan, a mighty group of community leaders and advocates, and a number of our legislative champions that will be pushing for reentry housing justice this year through AB 1816. At Housing California, we know that despite a lot of the current rhetoric, the root driver of homelessness is the lack of affordable housing. And for our neighbors who are coming home from incarceration, in addition to there not being enough affordable housing, there are other systemic barriers rooted in structural racism that can get in the way from accessing housing and securing the kinds of employment opportunities that put housing within reach. We also know that housing is a crucial foundation for any person to access safety, care, and economic opportunity. That's why we're co-sponsoring AB 1816 to make sure we're connecting our reentry and homeless response systems and investing real resources into communities as a way to promote public safety. So as we jump into today's program, I'll pass to my colleague, Sharon Report, Director of California Policy for the Corporation for Supportive Housing, to introduce AB 1816's author and champion, Assemblymember Bryan.
Thank you, Mari, and good morning, everybody. My name is Sharon Report, and as Mari said, I'm the Director of California State Policy for the Corporation for Supportive Housing. We're a national nonprofit, and we work with community-based organizations and local, state, and federal systems to solve homelessness. With Housing California and the other co-sponsors of AB 1816, we're really excited to be working with Assemblymember Bryan and the co-authors to improve the state's response to homelessness among formerly incarcerated people. And this bill is really based on housing and services models we know work, based on programs that exist in other states and throughout the country. These programs allow people to access safety, healthcare, and to thrive. AB 1816 continues the good work we began with AB 328 to prevent and end homelessness for thousands of people with experiences of state incarceration. We are truly thrilled to have an author who is so committed to reentry housing justice and equity. So without further ado, I will now turn it over to Assemblymember Bryan, the author of AB 1816.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you everybody for joining us this morning. I might be an author on this bill, but I'm one of many authors. To move something this important that our community needs, it takes a broad coalition of support. So I'm proud to see Senator Henry Stern crossing houses to join us in this fight. Assemblymember Robert Rivas, Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo, Assemblymember Luz Rivas, and my joint author, Assemblymember Ash Kalra. We're not going to get this across the finish line without all of us pushing, but more important than us legislators pushing, it's about focusing our legislation and our policymaking on the conditions of life rooted in people with lived experience. Every year we have nearly 30,000 people coming home from our prison system. The average stay in a California prison is 5 years. And when you come home, there are over 40,000 collateral consequences of a conviction that prevent you from getting housing, from getting employment, from rebuilding your life in a sustainable way. And it's interesting that we don't often talk about these gaps and these barriers in our conversation about housing everybody. We talk about the homeless crisis. We talk about the need to keep folks from falling into homelessness, yet we let people outside of our prisons without any kind of support or infrastructure, not even the basic infrastructure to build your life that many had prior to their time incarcerated. It's not right. It's certainly not right for a state like California. So what this bill does, AB 1816, building off the foundation of former Assemblymember David Chu, is looking to establish a housing and workforce development program for the state of California, where we fund community-based intervention strategies that give people a fighting chance to rebuild their lives. We're asking for a $2 million budget allocation this year, which is just a fraction of the money we're going to spend on housing and homelessness. It's the right thing to do. I'm proud to be co-leading this effort with all of my colleagues, but I'm even more grateful for all of the folks on the ground who have been calling for these changes for far too long. With that, I will kick it over to my brother in the Senate, Henry Stern.
Well, thank you, Assemblymember, for coming in to this legislature with a head of steam, with a mission, and also with experience that I think teaches all of us, that this isn't a place for pomp and circumstance. It's just a place to stay close to the ground. And I think this work, this bill, the reason I'm so excited to join you and make this a bicameral effort. I started out my career working in juvenile justice. I was an investigator, and then later on, I assisted at the Alameda County Max units. And watching us start to transition our entire system away from just a knee-jerk reaction to incarceration and a look at different ways to help people through hard times in their lives. We spend a lot of resources on the front end of incarcerating people, not just to keep people incarcerated and spend that $90,000 or so per bed per year, but on the front end, you think about the trials, you think about the investigators, you think about all the proceedings and all the checks that go into entering incarceration, and yet whenever that term is done, and for many it's not soon enough. But when that term is done, there's nothing there. It's a, hey, thanks, here's your stuff. Whatever you came in with, good luck. And that's a very irresponsible way to approach this change in our system without some kind of a handoff or support network. Most people, they came in because there were things not working at home. They didn't have support from their family. Their school wasn't looking out for them. Their principal wanted to kick them out of school and send them off to some other setting, or they made a mistake and, they've been struggling with homelessness themselves. And so to me, putting this infrastructure in place isn't just morally the right thing to do. It's going to actually be fiscally the prudent way to proceed here. So when we're talking about spending, a couple $100 million for a problem that's been a multi-billion-dollar effort, I think this is smart to get ahead of it. And, it's not enough to just say goodbye and good luck. If we don't have the supportive health infrastructure around this housing, and I'm so honored to be with all these co-sponsors here who do this work, the trauma folks have experienced, all that workforce gap that may have a hunger for it, it's going to be unmet, and people are going to turn back to whatever they had to do to survive before then. So I'm honored to do my part to lift. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Senator Stern. It's going to take all of us. And one person is definitely going to take it is my brother from LARP. We've been doing a lot of work for a long time. Troy Vaughn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, my brother. Isaac, it's just so good to be with you, Assemblymember. And I appreciate you being a champion for us for so many years, and all of our other co-sponsors. Really good to see Sharon being a part of this work. Her and I go way back in terms of fighting this issue as well. And really, housing is critical for us. I've been fighting at this nexus between reentry and homelessness for over 30 years now. And I think that this is the right time. We're at the right season for us to begin to create the opportunities, and not just housing, but the economic opportunities that people are going to need to be able to be stabilized in their lives. What I want to tell you guys is I'm the realization of what this can do. Right now, I sit at the head of the Los Angeles Regional Reentry Partnership. I'm co-founder and executive director. I also am the president and CEO of the Los Angeles Mission. I have founded many organizations throughout Los Angeles County and the state of California, creating economic opportunities and housing solutions for our brothers and our sisters returning home. This works. Housing works. Housing that keeps them stabilized in community, coupled with economic opportunities that would provide them vibrant employment opportunities to sustain themselves in community and in the housing that we create. When we talk about creating unique housing solutions, we do it from the standpoint of knowing that when people have a stable place to live permanently, and they don't have to be in transition and nomadic in their delivery systems in terms of how they're going to provide for them families, provide for themselves. We are at the crossroads of this change. And Brother Isaac, I can tell you right now, God is looking down on you with favor right now, because you and all of our co-sponsors and authors and champions that are a part of this, you guys need to be commended for stepping up and continuing the life of this effort that had stalled before, but now we have it here because we need it. With all the changes that are going on in our community, we can stand up and be leaderful. We can stand up and show the entire union that we can do this work in a very unique way. I'm proud to be a part of this. I'm proud to put our 800 and something network organizations behind this. I'm proud to stand with our state partners behind this. I'm proud to put all of our resources and our talent behind this because I think it's extremely important. And I intend to use all of my hats and seats that I sit in to influence this change. I will be on the phone. I will be calling. People will be tired of hearing from me because we're going to get this done. So again, I want to thank everybody for helping to champion this work. And it's about time we move this. So God bless you guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having LARP. Thank you for having the Los Angeles Mission and my other organizations, Christ-Centered Ministries and Arise and Manifest. I have so many that are providing work. Do you know that I employ 85% of the people that I employed in my companies are people with lived experience? This is a big deal. And so we want to make sure that we stabilize our brothers and our sisters. And I can't wait for us to see this cast. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Troy. We wouldn't have gotten this far without you. And, you know, it can't really stall progress, right?
That's right.
And this takes all of us. And so we've got folks in the reentry space that have been doing this work for a long, long time. But looking at the nexus of housing and reentry is a special place. And I can think of few organizations that think about housing, especially the most vulnerable in our community, like PATH. And I'm grateful that you're here, Jennifer. And I'd love to kick the mic over to you.
Thank you so much. My name is Jennifer Hartdietz, and I'm the CEO of PATH. For those of you that don't know, PATH is a statewide nonprofit homeless service provider and housing developer. So we address the dual crisis of homelessness and a lack of affordable housing every day. And today I'm excited to share an on-the-ground program that really demonstrates the benefits of investing in reentry services. Our Community Care Coordination, or C3 program in San Diego, works in partnership with both the San Diego County Sheriff's Office, the County Public Defender, and this is all through the County Health and Human Services Agency. So our program succeeds because every stakeholder, including law enforcement, wants to stop the prison to streets pipeline. As a statewide organization, we can say with confidence, we believe that's true everywhere in California. In our program, the county staff refer individuals who are at risk of exiting into homelessness to PATH well ahead of their release day. So we can build the rapport that's necessary for them when they're ready. And that's critical since we know that so many people lose their homes and their eligibility for support after just a few months of incarceration. So reentry programs need to be proactive, comprehensive, and trauma-informed to be successful. Since we started this program in 2019, we've helped over 100 individuals in San Diego County access temporary housing, receive supportive services like mental health treatment, and find their way into a permanent home. So far, almost half of those individuals are already sustaining themselves in a home of their own without any subsidies. And over 3/4 of our participants haven't been booked or into jail for any reason since their enrollment. So we know that our participants are getting the help they need in a way that's safer for them and the surrounding community. By our county's own estimate, our program is 20% more cost effective, as we can all imagine, than the cost to reoffend and be rearrested. So reentry programs don't just lower the human cost of incarceration, but the financial cost as well. It's truly a win-win. So today we are honored to co-sponsor AB 1816. This is a critical legislation, and we thank Assemblymember Bryan and all the co-sponsors for their vision and leadership.
Thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate you we're going to work on getting Senator Becker bumped up to a panelist. I think he's here to join us too. Caleb, you can work on that. But in the meantime, there's a really important brother here on this Zoom with us right now. And I think, one of my philosophies in policymaking is nothing about us without us. And you can't talk about people who are formerly incarcerated if you don't have people at the table who can tell you about that lived experience. And so I want to pass it to my brother Keith from Run to share a couple words with us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith the Ribbing Wine. I'm an alumni of the 2012 Almost Home Winter Shelter at St. Mary's Center in Oakland. I'm also a part of their Hope and Justice team, and I'm the president of the Council of Elders at St. Mary's. And I'm speaking in behalf of the Resident United Network for the People. But please believe me, it wasn't always this way. From 1990 to 2012, I was in and out of St. Quentin State Prison every year. I would go to prison on a violation, come home, open up an abandoned house, and start my criminal and my drug activities. I did this year after year. And then in 2012, I get arrested for a burglary. So when I go to court, they offer me 6 months with 5 years felony probation with a 4-way search club. So I take it. So while I was in Santa Rita County Jail in Dublin, I meet a guy who tell me some really good things about St. Mary's Almost Home Winter Shelter in Oakland. So when I get out, I immediately go there. And when I get there, I get involved in their shelter and the classes they had to offer, like the Changing Your Emotion class, the Money Management class, and the People Skills class. After being in the program for about 4 months, I received my own apartment. I've had it now close to 10 years. I know the only reason I've been able to maintain a healthy, normal, and productive lifestyle is because of the retraining I received while I was in the Almost Home Winter Shelter at St. Mary's Center in Oakland. And this is why I support AB 1816, which is a bill to help inmates once they're released from prison with housing and counseling, sort of like the same thing St. Mary's Almost Home Winter Shelter did for me. And if you have any doubts in your mind about the success rate of St. Mary's Almost Home Winter Shelter in Oakland, please use me as an example. Getting out of prison was a blessing and a curse at the same time. The blessing part is I was getting out of prison. The curse part is once I got out, I had no idea where I was going to stay and no means of finding out how to get help with getting that done. So I felt stuck. So I would always resort to doing what I did to get put in prison in the first place. This bill, AB 1816, is not only good for the inmates, it's great for society. My name is Keith the Ribbing Wine. I'm the president of the Council of Elders at St. Mary's Center in Oakland, and I speak in behalf of RUN, Residents United for the People. And I really appreciate the privilege of your time. Thank you.
Keith, I mean, we're blessed that you share with us. And thank you for your leadership on many, many different fronts. I told you this is going to take a coalition of everybody, and it's going to take both houses. And so we had Senator Henry Stern with us in solidarity and support. I wanted to introduce Senator Josh Becker as well for a couple of words.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember Bryan and Assemblymember Colorado for your leadership. And thank you for working with me to get me in here. Yeah, as soon as I read about this, I texted Isaac, reached out, said, this is fantastic. I want to be part of it. And just it's wonderful to hear everyone today. Something I've long been interested in. Someone on my team had done a lot of research, and actually in terms of people in their last 2 years of their service, actually letting them voluntary programs, let them live in their communities. And the success rates of that program is off the charts. So I've always been interested in this area, and for all the reasons that everyone said. And I want to thank Housing California and their partners for their persistence and thoughtful advocacy for those without homes in our communities. This is sorely needed for all the reasons we talked about, for people who are coming out of our system, and they need this sort of support. People leave with less than $200 in cash. And what do we expect in that sort of situation? So to navigate finding food, housing, other essential services right away without our efforts to help them get connected to those services, I think is folly. So studies show this kind of intervention is helpful and prevents recidivism. And we've heard the stories here today. So I think this is just critical. It's smart. It's the moral thing to do. And it's again, the right thing to do for society. And it's the economic thing to do for us, right? We want to help. We want to prevent recidivism. That means jobs. I'm proud to have done a bill last year on employment, social enterprises that are employing people out of this. I talked to the head of Caltrans, thanked him for his support with their process to get people recently, people with barriers to work into working for Caltrans. We need to provide jobs and we need to provide housing. And I want to thank you all for your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Becker. I appreciate you jumping on with us. And now we're gonna bring it to our house, right? Because this bill's starting in the Assembly. So it only gets to Josh and Henry if we do the heavy lifting on this side. And so I'm proud to bring up my joint author on this bill, a man who is well known for heavy lifting, some of the strongest shoulders of anybody in the building, and that's Assemblymember Oscar.
Well, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you. I'm honored to join Assemblymember Bryan as a joint author of AB 1816. Assemblymember Bryan doesn't only speak with passion, he also speaks with purpose. And this is an example of that, of actually putting your values into action. We know that homelessness continues to be a growing issue in California, especially with our reentry population at the greatest risk of experiencing housing insecurity and homelessness. Upon release, formerly incarcerated individuals are faced with a number of barriers and provided little resources to help them find stable housing and employment, thus placing them at a greater risk of recidivism. During my 11 years as a deputy public defender, I routinely met with my clients, oftentimes right outside the jail upon their release, to work to bring them stability, whether that meant getting them set up for a job or job training opportunities, whether it meant setting them up for issues regarding their medical needs or substance abuse treatment, but most often to ensure they simply had a safe, secure place to rest their head. That proved to be the greatest challenge. And during COVID, I've actually joined with our local public defenders and Silicon Valley Debug as they waited outside our county jail for anyone released, just to see, hey, do you have a place to sleep tonight? Now that is the scope of the issue that we're facing. While I'm proud of the progress we have made towards reducing our prison population and shifting towards a focus on rehabilitation, those efforts are jeopardized when these individuals and their families do not have access to a safe place to sleep or a steady means to provide for themselves. When according to CDCR staff, as many as 20% of people leaving prison do not have a stable place to live and are 5 times more likely to be unemployed than the average Californian, it is clear much more work needs to be done to ensure that those that have been touched by the criminal justice system have all the resources they need to successfully reintegrate into their communities. AB 1816 will help to pick up those missing pieces in our system and provide grants to the entities providing vital housing and wraparound services to formerly incarcerated individuals when they come home, and even more significantly, before they're even released, help get them set up with that stable access to help, because we all need that helping hand. I'm very grateful to the partners, the sponsors of this bill, because they're the ones on the ground that inform us as what we need to do when we're up here in Sacramento. So I'm incredibly grateful to be part of this bill, a part of this movement. I'm proud to join off this important piece of legislation that will lay the foundation to help alleviate the homelessness issue amongst our fellow Californians. Thank you so much, Assemblymember Bryan.
Thank you, Assemblymember Calra. And it's a foundation to build, right? Because this is going to be a heavy lift for us, but it's just the beginning. It's a start. Think about you picking up people outside of the jails reminds me of my auntie, Susan Burton, who did the same thing in Los Angeles and all across the state. Again, it's going to take all of us. And I'm glad that we also have another co-author on this bill who's a champion for working people. When I think about the workforce development component of this bill, I think of Wendy Carrillo. And so I'm so grateful that you've joined us on this bill, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as we get ready to launch.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Can you hear me okay?
You can.
Thank you. Always got to check. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Wendy Carrillo, and I proudly represent the 51st, now the 52nd Assembly District, which includes the communities of Northeast LA, Echo Park, and East Los Angeles. And if you're from my community, you know how much it has changed and how gentrification is making my community completely unaffordable. And for our brothers and sisters returning home, they're returning to neighborhoods that don't look the same. And oftentimes they find themselves in a tent alongside the LA River, trying and wondering how to figure out how to restart their lives. I am proud once again to co-author on this very important bill and want to thank Assemblymember Bryan for championing this issue. Our state has taken some very positive steps to move away from over-incarceration in the last few years, which has resulted in the continued decline of our incarcerated population. Providing Californians with a second chance, however, requires we provide them with the tools necessary to successfully integrate into our communities, and that begins with a place to live. From the stories shared earlier, we know that formerly incarcerated individuals face struggles when facing homelessness, which includes access to affordable housing and being discontinued during the application process simply for being incarcerated or formerly incarcerated. I want to thank those individuals for sharing their personal experience today, and the community providers that spoke about their efforts to supply as many permanent supportive housing slots as they can. I want to bring into this space the voice of author W.E.B. Du Bois, who said, "We should measure the prosperity of a nation not by the number of millionaires, but by the absence of poverty, the prevalence of health, the efficiency of our public schools." It has been my generation and the generation of the authors on this Zoom in which we saw California's realization of the school to prison pipeline, which includes the decline of public education dollars and the investments in prisons, 22 prisons, in fact, that have been built since 1980. By passing AB 1816, not only are we addressing the school to prison pipeline, but finding solutions for the prison to street pipeline. AB 1816 will ensure our states is holding up its end of the bargain, ensuring that those who put in the work to change their lives don't find themselves stranded after being released. Unas pocas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Wendy Carrillo, represento con orgullo las comunidades del noreste de Los Ángeles, el este de Los Ángeles y Echo Park. Me orgullece estar de nuevo como coautora de este proyecto de ley tan importante y quiero agradecer al asambleísta Bryan por su liderazgo en este tema. Nuestro estado ha tomado medidas positivas para alejarse del encarcelamiento excesivo en los últimos años, lo que ha resultado en menos personas detrás de la cárcel. Sin embargo, brindar a californianos una segunda oportunidad requiere que les proporcionemos las herramientas necesarias para integrarse con éxito en nuestras comunidades, y eso comienza con un lugar de vivir. A base de todo lo que hemos compartido en este Zoom esta mañana, sabemos que las personas previamente encarceladas se enfrentan la falta de vivienda, que incluye el acceso de viviendas asequibles. Quiero agradecer por todo lo que han comentado, son sus historias personales, sus experiencias, y los proveedores de la comunidad que hacen todo lo posible para poder ayudar a todos los que necesitan hogar. El autor W.B. Du Bois lo dijo mejor: deberíamos medir la prosperidad de una nación no con el número de millonarios, sino por la ausencia de pobreza, la prevalencia de la salud y la eficiencia de nuestras escuelas públicas. Al aprobar este proyecto de ley AB 1816, nuestro estado está cumpliendo su parte del trato, asegurando que aquellas personas que trabajaron para cambiar sus vidas no se queden atrás y tengan un acceso a un paso positivo y una vida positiva. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Assemblymember.
Thank you, Assemblymember. And also, I don't know if you knew this, but it was W.E.B. Du Bois' birthday today. He was born
I did not.
on this day. So well played on the quote. I think that's fitting. You know, there's not a lot of things that I do in the assembly that I don't do without this next person. She's mi hermana from the Valley. She's a champion on many, many different issues. And I'm so grateful that you joined us in this effort. And that's Assemblymember Luz Rivas.
Thank you and good morning. I'm Assemblywoman Luz Rivas. I represent the East San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. I want to start by thanking Assemblymember Bryan for taking the lead on this critical legislation and all of the co-sponsors who have recognized this as an urgent need. And like Mr. Vaughn said, the time to do this is now. This is the right time. And that's why I'm proud to be here as a co-author of AB 1816, so that we can create a program to help formerly incarcerated people get a second chance at life. Our state doesn't do enough to help individuals integrate into society upon their release. We know that almost 40% of people entering parole have unstable housing plans and could leave them at risk of homelessness. And this is simply unacceptable for a state that takes pride in its progressive values. And today is the right day to get this started. We have the right team. This coalition is strong. I've worked with many of you. Our lead author is the right person to lead us into making sure that we pass this in the Assembly and cross over into the Senate, make it down to the governor's desk. So I want to thank everyone here for joining us, and also I'm proud to be part of this team because we have an opportunity to help formerly incarcerated individuals reintegrate into society. Everyone deserves a second chance, and we can create that for thousands of Californians. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Assemblymember Luz Rivas. We are not going to get this done without you, and I'm so grateful that you're a part of this group. The final legislator I'm going to bring up is a brother of mine here on the floor. When I got sworn in, he took me over to his house and basically told me, whatever you're trying to do, I'm down with it. And I put that to the test with a bill like this, and he jumped on right away. And that's Assemblymember Rob Rivas. I appreciate you, brother.
Isaac, great to see you this morning. Great to see everybody this morning. And it's great to be a part of this call. My name is Robert Rivas, and I represent the 30th Assembly District, which spans 4 different counties, the counties of Monterey, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, and San Benito. Our district, Assembly District number 30, is also home to the Soledad State Prison, which is just south of the Salinas region. And I as well want to thank Assemblymember Isaac Bryan for stepping up, for authoring this bill, Assembly Bill 1816, which proposes to ensure that we provide much needed housing and employment support for people recently released from incarceration. And as was mentioned by Assemblymember Cholera, I appreciate that Assemblymember Bryan is not just talking about a problem, but he's rolling up his sleeves to find real solutions. Not to mention joining the ranks of fellow legislators that have taken a courageous stance on California's housing crisis, unwavering in their commitment to increase our housing supply, but increase our housing supply in a thoughtful way to ensure that all Californians have a roof over their head, and that our children have a safe environment to learn, grow, and thrive. It is essential. And this bill is about housing. It's about ensuring that Californians who are trying to pick themselves up and build a better life have a safe place to call home. There are many barriers that impact some people after their release from prison. And the threat of homelessness is one of the most significant, as we've heard. In fact, formerly incarcerated people are 10 times more likely to become homeless than the general population. And without a safe place to live, many end up right back in prison. As California, as we continue to grapple with a worsening housing shortage, as we continue to live with a first in the nation homelessness crisis, reentry housing, workforce, some development services, they are critical components to a much larger homelessness prevention strategy for our state. With this legislation, as was mentioned by Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo, we create another tool to reduce the threat of homelessness, which will give people who most need support a real chance to rebuild their lives. And so after all, this is California, this is the Golden State. We don't just shut the door of opportunity to anyone. If people are willing to work hard, they deserve a chance at a better life. So once again, I'm so thankful to be a part of this great group of legislators. I want to thank Isaac Bryan, Assemblymember Bryan, for his leadership in bringing this legislation forward. And I'm very proud to work with him to get this to the governor's desk and make sure he signs it. So it's great to see everybody. Thanks, Isaac.
Thank you, Assemblymember Rivas. And we're going to get this to the governor's desk. But hearing from all of us has been great, especially all of my legislative colleagues. I appreciate y'all, but again, it's nothing about us without us. So we got to close back with some rooted lived experience. And with that, I want to kick it to my brother, Joe Paul, to give us the final words.
Appreciate you, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for your time. My name is Joe Paul. I have the honor of walking side by side with my good brother, Troy Vaughn, on a daily basis in LA County. And now we've spawned into a statewide model of what we so successfully have accomplished with LARP through the Reentry Providers Association of California, which I now have the opportunity to lead for a season and allow for the work that we've accomplished in really creating what I would call healthy communities, a model of allowing organizations, impacted people, grassroots organizers to really have a voice at the table of power. I mean, that's really what we call social justice, taking those who are closest to the problem and giving them an opportunity to speak truth to power. And that's what this seems like to me, AB 1816 represents. A true opportunity to provide the balanced support, housing, and workforce development that empowers people, that gives folks the opportunity to live out what Abraham Maslow called the actualization of their potential. And that's what we're seeking. We want to just continue to do smart legislation. And so REPAC was formed with the intent of not only being an advocacy component, but also as a 501c4, having the opportunity to really mobilize and put some teeth behind the work that we do from the community. And so it's so important seeing all of these legislators on this call in this climate where a lot of people are capitulating to their stance on criminal justice reform. There's so many people in the face of just a simple contraction in society where people are trying to survive that we're looking at symptoms and not the root causes. And I think this bill really gets to the measure of that. I think, Isaac, your strength coming from the turf and really understanding how to move where people need you to move and standing up tall, and now taking that same power and that same courage to the halls of our legislature at the state level is powerful, bro. So being able to stand with you and all you other great people who have a sense of community, a sense of value of life, it's an honor to walk with you. And just before I close and leave it back to the assembly member, behind me, you'll see an image. That is the debate over the Emancipation Proclamation. And it seems like we're right back there again today. That we want to free people, but we don't want to give them anything. Or do we even free people at all? Do we go back to tough on crime? So we have a juxtaposition before us, right? And I really think that where we stand today in bills like this, in the coalition of legislature that is on this call, really represents the fortitude of this country and really the state of California at this point on how we don't bend in the face of where change is really needed. And so I want to thank each one of you. Assemblymember Bryan, just, we got your back, bro. We're going to push this thing to the finish line. And so thank you for your courage. Thank all of you legislative representatives for your courage to even stand in the face of, criminal justice reform. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Paul. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. The next steps, AB 1816, that has been introduced. The bill deadline was last week. It has been referred to the Housing Committee, where a similar version of this bill made it through previously. And so we're optimistic. We're trying to get it double referred to the Public Safety Committee so nobody can question us about the policy of this bill as it heads its way to appropriations, where it got a nod from the chair of appropriations last cycle when we tried to break out AB 328. And so I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful about our potential to move this across our House. I'm grateful to our Senate colleagues, Senator Becker, Senator Stern, and others who will have their eyes out for this. And I'm hopeful that the governor is watching now too, because the whole state of California needs to recognize that solving homelessness isn't just about getting people off the streets. It's about keeping people from falling into the streets, and people that are most vulnerable to falling into the streets are the ones that we've left no safety support when they come out of incarceration. And so we can do better. We should do better. And when we pass this bill, we'll be on a pathway towards doing better. So thank you all for joining us today. And I wish you all a very blessed day.